Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Nat Walsh. Today we are yet again going to play with the same stamp set as I did on Tuesday. So we've got this Easter basket and accessories and the Easter basket. Now this die does not cut open the basket, so I'm going off camera. I'm going to cut that open because I like it. I like my dies to be, my images just to look like they're interacting with other images rather than just sitting there. But you know, that's what I like. So we're going to stamp this down. I'm going to rub off, because it's a brand new stamp, I'm going to rub off sort of just like the residue when they make it, and it just makes it much more, takes off the shine. It helps the ink to sort of adhere to the stamp a bit better, and that's what I do. So I'm just showing you there exactly what I did. I cut open my little basket. We've stamped this down in Memento Desert Sand, and we're going to do a little bit of no line colouring. These little eggs evolved, the way I coloured them, I should say, evolved. The first few, they were alright. I like they're good, don't get me wrong, they're good, but I did change the way I was colouring them, and I did like that a lot better. It's not something I have ever really done. With last year, I did not do any Easter cards. I just didn't. I'm not really too sure why, but there you go. Anywho. So my colours with these purpley eggs, and I've got them stamped out twice. So one of the ones I'm going to cut up a little bit, and the other one I'm going to colour the whole image. So we're going to add a couple of more Easter eggs, but I'm going to use the same colours all throughout. So there'll be like two, some of them are three of the same colour. But I've picked different eggs with their different decorations to go with them. So this Copics, the colours that I'm using here are BV08, BV04, BV13, 02 and BV31. Now this, I've changed my colours now. This is sort of like a pinky red, you know, red violet sort of color. This, I do start off with a very weird sort of color range. I saw someone on Instagram, trying to think of who he is, but there was someone on Instagram that I saw this and I really liked it. So we've got E49, RV69, RV29, RV14 and RV13. And yet again, I'm doing, this particular one right now is the one that I'm not too thrilled about. But, you know, in the scheme of things, he's all right. He's good. He's all right. It's just, yeah. There's a couple that, you know, there was another one that has the same sort of thing, and I changed the scallopy on it using the white gel pen. So this part. And I found to colour the whole egg and then put your decorations in. I don't know what I was thinking, but either way, that's how I started off, and I evolved and my brain kicked in and I thought, no, this is the way I want to do it. But the other one of this is going to be, you're only going to see a tiny little 15th of him. Now this one, the sort of orangey blend, this one is E08, YR16, Y17 and YOO. I love this color. It's a great little blend. It's a bit, I'm not quite Copics certified. But I enjoy my colors, and I like to play, and I like to look at other people's combinations and then come up with my own. And I think that's half the thing with any colouring that you're sort of going to do is the fact that you start off with an inspiration from someone else and then you make it in your own sort of style. So we're just colouring. I quite like that one, even though I've done the darker edges. We're going to lighten that up. There's quite a few that we're going to lighten up with a white gel pen, and some of them I waited to the end. Some of them I just went, no, I've got to try this right now, but that's okay. So we've got another one in that yellow range. So we're also going to use a My Favorite Things die for the Fresh Cut Grass. It is an older one. I don't know if it's available, but there's plenty of companies out there that have the same type of grass. There's plenty of stencils. You could stencil it if you wish, obviously, but there's plenty of people that have the same sort of die. But this one was an older My Favorite Things. The next one that we've got here is BV29, BG78, BG75 and 72. This is where my colouring starts to alter a little bit. And I colour the whole image, and this is where we're going to come in, obviously, with my white gel pen. This is pretty, I think it's a Signo. Shall we have a look? Yep, this is a Uniball Signo pen. It's a broad tip, and I literally just got it from one of my local craft shop. I think I've got a few white pens here, but that's what I'm using. So I really like it. It works out well, very well for me. I find some other gel pens to not have a very good long life once you've opened them up, but the Signos do really, really well. So I'm still going in with my blue-green mix. And I'm just, as I've said previously in plenty of other videos, where the eggs overlap, that's where there's going to be some sort of shadow. Okay, we want to give the illusion of depth. We want to give the illusion that it is not a piece of cardstock. Just two-dimensional. We want to give it some sort of look. And later on, when I do the basket, the same thing. And I really like how the basket turned out, so I thought it gave it quite a fair bit of dimension. So this is where we're going to colour in our third little BG, because I didn't particularly want to bring any more colours into this because it's a pretty colourful little range. So the next one, as you could see there, were RV69, G29, G17, YG06 and YG00. So obviously you've got the red and you've got the green, and you mix them together, you're going to get brown. So it gives it a nice deep color to it and deep contrast for the shading. Once again, it's going to be in the bottom, just showing you there, because my top of my pen has lost most of its little label. I made these labels. I had here in Australia, the pens are distributed by Kobe Expressit, and they supply a chart for the Chows, because of course the Chows don't have anything printed on the top of the caps. And what I did was I actually printed out 2 of those, and every second line, every second number, pen number, that's when I would use that. So if I did Y17, the next one down I would miss, and then I'd grab the next one, and I just punched that out with a normal handheld hole punch, like the sort that you would punch, you know, like your papers to put in a ring binder or something like that. But you know, the single ones, you know what I'm talking about? The single ones. This particular one, I wanted it to be a bit darker, but I just thought that the egg next to it might get lost. So with the darkest color, I actually went like a mil or so away from the other egg, which it's hard to see, but it just sort of gives it that little bit of variation and breaks it up between the two eggs a little bit more with our gel pen. And this is where we're going to cut it out. So I've cut all that out so you can see that I've got my little eggs all in my basket. So my basket colors are E85, 89, 87, 84 and Y28. I thought these would be a really great little, just go along well with the craft cardstock. So as you can see, underneath the lip of the basket is going to have a little bit of shadow, and the side, because it's a rounded basket. I'm not fussing too much about the perforated bits on the base of the basket, and we're going to soften that down with a 0 pen just to make sure it blended out well. Same thing with, I'm going to go back through the colors, but I'm not going to do much fussing with it, and I'm going to soften that a little bit with a Y, with an O again. The handle, same sort of deal. I'm going to try and put some of the twisting. You can see it there. I must have forgot to press play. And then I'm just going to soften that with my O again. And that's how my basket is going to look. Put a bit of glue. I did snip off the little egg on the right hand side. I did sort of shape him around a little bit so he would just sit a little bit better in my basket. And then you can see all my little eggs that are all cut up. So this is some green card base. I'm just sort of trying to figure it out. It did leave quite a line there that you can see, because it does have that other, you know, it's not like one strip, it has that little base to it. But, you know, it works, and we covered it quite well. But out of one little smooth run through a big shot, you get two things of grass. So, you know, it's worth it. Those dies are worth their money. They're good. I'm just going to play around with this now until I'm happy with it. And we're going to move that around and glue that off, and I'll trim that off in a little bit. I don't really have anything to tell you today. There's been a pretty boring old life and that, just a bit of work and a bit of work and a bit of work. So nothing terribly exciting there. I am teaching in class tomorrow at Little Bits in Keysborough, Melbourne, so that will be a bit exciting. So I like it. The ladies that haven't gone, there's a local show. It's down the other side of Melbourne, so there's a local show, and then we're allowing, here in Melbourne, they're allowing, I know, religious get-togethers, they allow 100 people in the area, so they're probably sort of reducing all their intake as people come in and come out, which is not the world's best, but what can you do when this corona pandemic gets its eviction notice? Then hopefully, you know, things will slowly go back to normal. But for the time being, unless we have another outbreak, that's what they're doing this week. So a lot of people are heading down to, I'm trying to think of where it is, Geelong or Bendigo, I can't remember. How bad is that? Anywho, we're going to raise up this second little bit of grass so I can tuck my little basket in behind that, and I'm also going to raise up my basket. As I said, I am not putting foam dots right down the very bottom because I thought that would help me be able to get my little basket in between the two strips of grass. I've trimmed off a little bit of the foam just to make little tiny slithers. just so I can support the handle a little bit. They are literally very, very thin. Take that all off. This is just a little ceramic bowl that's nice and handy, because otherwise I end up making myself this great big whopping mess. So I throw it on in a little bowl, and then at the end of it I can easily tuck that, throw that in the bin. It wasn't quite all the way over as it should be, so we're just going to pull that up a little bit before it properly sticks down. Give it a press and that works out fine. Just trying to tuck my basket and not catch any of the grass things. You don't see much of my little egg on the side, but just had to pause that while my son came to say goodnight, and now I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yes, my little red egg. I tucked him in quite well, but it was a bit of a rough call, but you get the idea of where he is. Decided this obviously needed a sentiment, so we're just using a Happy Easter out of the same Easter basket accessories, and what I'm going to do is gold emboss that. But everything doesn't quite go to plan in the sense of nothing major, but in the sense that I have a missing little bit of gold embossing, but we're going to fix that up. Use my anti-static pad and my Versamark. We're going to stamp that down, and I've just got this gold embossing that my local craft shop, she sells, and it looks really dull and horrible, but then when it melts it comes up this beautiful bright gold. So there's a tiny little bit on the H that I've missed with my inking, so we're going to heat all him up. I think I need a new heat gun very shortly. It's the inside of it's moved and the blooming thing melts itself. So yeah, I think I'm on the market for a new heat gun. So what I've done is use the Versamark pen and just lightly gone over the area and put some more embossing powder, cleaned it up because it did go a little bit tiny out, and then that was it. This is Kaisercraft. I don't even know what they're called. They're quite old and I would like to get rid of them, and they're sort of like enamel dots, but they're crystal clear, but they're not the world's easier to pick up, and I find they don't particularly like to stick down. That's probably because they're old. So I'm just going to use some multi-matte medium, and I've got my tweezers here just to help me put it down. Twist my hands because my multi-matte medium was in the wrong hand. That's it. That's my card. Take care. See you next time.